Hello everyone, this is Johanna Batman coming to you from the 1848 Shaker Meeting House here at the Watervliet community, and I wanted to spend a few minutes today talking about the Shakers' relationship with infectious disease in recognition of the novel coronavirus pandemic that's spreading around the globe today. The Shakers were in some cases isolated from disease and protected from it but by their lifestyle, and in other instances they actually may have been more susceptible to certain diseases because of it. So during the period of the 1820s to the 1870s, during the real peak of Shaker communities, there were a number of different infectious diseases to be worried about. In 1813, there was an outbreak of typhus fever that actually did affect Shaker communities, and the Mount Lebanon community lost 15 members just between January and March of that year. And that actually triggered a change in the way that Shakers related to outside medical communities. Prior to that time, under the guidance of Mother Lucy Wright, Shakers had generally not engaged medical professionals from the world. But after this outbreak, they began a policy of accepting outside medical intervention and assistance for serious illnesses or bad wounds. And that relationship persisted for the rest of the duration of Shaker communities. In 1832, there was a cholera outbreak in this region, and that time the Shakers were actually insulated. Cholera is often spread through dirty water, essentially, and the Shakers had access to clean running water in much higher quantities than your average person at the time. So there are actually records at that point of the Watervliet community accepting refugees, so people fleeing the cholera outbreak from surrounding communities in the Albany region. And there were no reported incidents of infection or death during that outbreak. So in that case, their social isolation, their hygiene actually really protected them. The disease that you see most frequently in records of Shaker communities, though, is tuberculosis. It also could be called the white plague or consumption, were more common terms. And this actually, according to some research, may have actually occurred at higher rates than you would see even in the densest urban communities like New York City and Philadelphia during that time. And this again may actually be attributable to their lifestyle. The Shakers worked hard, work was worship. They wouldn't spend more time in the infirmary than necessary. And the rates were also higher among women than men. Women often worked in very close quarters. They did a lot of the domestic work, were indoors more than men were. And so this may have contributed to elevated rates of consumption and transmission. There's not much evidence in the records that the Shakers took steps to isolate people showing consumptive symptoms. And in some cases, there are actually records of someone being in the infirmary resting for consumption, and a few weeks later being a nurse and caring for others in the infirmary. So that really would have promoted the spread of the disease. And if you're interested in learning more about this, this information came largely from an excellent paper from 1994 by John Murray called The White Plague in Utopia. So it's a good read if you're interested in learning more about it. So let's take the lessons of the Shakers and maintain good hygiene during this time, and also practice your social distancing, stay home when you can, be safe, and I'll look forward to seeing you when we open again. Thank you.